Okay, we're back again, guys. Sorry for all the on and off. And hey, look, I'm trying to do these live videos as much as I can and not be perfectionistic about it. Remember, I said that last time. I had to do a little quick insert there that actually went across pretty well, but was a little complicated. And I will do a little correction here that tells what my last video was about. And let me just do this. And I'm gonna. Okay, good. So we're back. All right. So I was talking about Supernatural Entrepreneur Series, and I was talking about the XRP thing. I want to do that now. Remember, my screen was like really weird. I still don't understand what the heck's going on here with this website, but let's just go with it here. And okay, if you look at the chart of XRP, see how it made that big drop on the right side of the chart? It dropped down, bounced back up again, and now it's doing I don't know what. It went down, I think, as low as $1.13, and that pretty much fit what my dream showed. It went straight down, it went really low, and then went shooting back up again. And in the dream, it was so fast that I couldn't keep up with it. Now, in real life, it's not that fast, but I know that God was trying to emphasize something by exaggerating. What he was showing in the dream was that this thing would move so fast if I wasn't ready, I'd miss the whole thing. And he wanted me to take advantage of the highs and the lows, buy at the low, sell at the high, rather than just buy it and wait for it to shoot to the moon and make, a big, huge like a big lottery ticket. So that's what he wanted me to do. That's what God showed me. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to try to tell you what you should do. If you're not supposed to do this, if God doesn't want you to do this, then don't do it. If you don't know what you're doing, because the dream was kind of technical, it does, like I said before, it requires some technical knowledge. You got to know how to figure out the bottom, how to figure out the top, how to get a rough idea. If you can just be led by the Holy Spirit and do it without any of that technical stuff, even better. Believe me, that's perfect. But I'm just here to tell you that that's what God was showing me, that it would be, and it would repeatedly go up and down, repeatedly up and down. And you could make money off the lows and buy the low, sell the high. And when it came back up to the previous range where it was, the previous price range, $2 to $3 range, sell it there. And don't try to get the exact top or the exact bottom. If you try to do the exact top and the exact bottom, you will miss every time. It's very hard to know where the exact bottom is and where the exact top is. The point was to target a range and trade within that range. And then you would make money doing that way. Especially if this thing goes up and down by $1. I mean, right now, today, it's about $1.40. If it went down to 120 and went back up to 190, and if you bought at 120 and sold at 190 something, believe me, and you keep doing that, you're going to make money. If it goes even higher, that's great. If it goes above 2, or if even if you bought it here today and waited for it to go back to above 2, close to, I don't know if it'll get to 3 anytime soon. Maybe it will. Who knows? This is so driven by markets and politics and news cycles and all this stuff that it's just hard to really predict accurately what it's going to do. So anyway, let me just put myself back on here. You can see me again, just to say, just be careful with it. I don't want to come on every day and give an update. This is not a crypto update channel. Those exist. You want to follow those? Go find the crypto update people. There's some I used to follow in the past. I don't remember their names or who they are or any of that stuff. And so I don't know, some of them got very technical, which is great if you're into that. Some of them just, to tell you right now, my advice is I do not recommend going out and buying someone's service. If you think that's right for you, okay, but just remember there's a lot of those out there. Some of them might be very good. Because I have some experience with this stuff, I can say some might be very good, but there's so many out there and you might get the wrong one, and I've had the wrong ones and the right ones, and sometimes they'll give you advice that it might be above your level. It might be so technical that you can't even comply with what they're trying to suggest that you do, or it could take over your whole life. So they want you to buy and sell so many times that you're like, well, if you have a regular job, how are you going to do this? It's not going to work. And your entire life goes from, okay, me as a Christian, and I have a calling from God, I can't make my whole life take all of this and squeeze it down into one little topic. And now I'm just dealing with crypto and nothing else that God has called me to. It's one thing. It's one thing. God has shown me some wisdom to use some wisdom with buying and selling, but it's not my whole life. I'm not supposed to let it take over my whole life, but it is something He wants me to do and take advantage of. So again, if I had a couple, one or 200 extra dollars right now, I would put it into XRP right here at this point. Maybe I might even say if I had $200, I might put $100 here at the 140 level, and I might wait to see, does it go back down to 120? If it did, I would buy there again, and I would just let it sit and wait for it to come back up. When it came up near the $2 range, in that range, not an exact number, I would sell some of that right there and keep the profit. And then I would wait to see, hold some money in reserve, and then put some into it. Now, right now, I don't have money in reserve. I have hardly anything. I only have the money I put in XRP a couple weeks ago. So I bought it a little bit higher. And now it's down. I bought it in the 188, 192, and 196, almost equal amounts. And so I got nothing else to work with right now. But if I did, that's what I would be doing. And then I would wait for it to come back up. I would sell, take the profit, and then just hold that money off to the side and see what happens. Okay, that's just practical wisdom. I've just learned this stuff over a period of time. Again, I'm not really not trying to get a whole big thing on this, but we'll come back to that. How about that? So if you're watching all these videos where I talk about it, then a little bit here and there, okay, like it says, I think is in Isaiah, said a little here, a little there. That's how we do things. That's how I do things, which is a great lead in now to my Supernatural Entrepreneur series that I've been going on for a year and 3 months, I think now. We're up to episode 92 as of today. And again, I want to come and talk about that rather than just write words, because words can sometimes, after a while, get to be flat. They can be impersonal. You can read something and not know the heart of the person behind it, and you can get things all off. Sometimes I speak very directly about things that's part of my calling. I've had dreams about this in the past. I keep asking God for an update, like, okay, what's the deal with this part of my calling? Because I've had dreams definitely showing I have a calling as a prophet. I don't talk about that very much because it hasn't been validated openly and publicly, especially through my parent ministry, JMMI. And so although it was kind of in a roundabout way, which my dreams also agree with, in a roundabout way, kind of like referred to, like sometimes God will tell you something in this roundabout way and you have to figure out what He's trying to say. And so I've had those things. I have had those things mentioned about me having a calling as a prophet. Now, I don't talk about that also much because, first of all, because it hasn't been publicly just out there said, okay, Chris is this. I don't talk about that for that reason, even though I have dreams about it. Yes, multiple. But I also, because the kingdom of God, my status as a king in God's kingdom and as a divine emperor and all this other stuff is something even beyond that. I'll have to talk about later. That is much higher. Those positions are far higher than the fivefold church ministry positions. Anything in the kingdom of God is way up here, and the church realm, prophets and all that are way the heck down here. They're at the bottom. The kingdom of God is seek ye first the kingdom of God, not seek ye first the church. No, Jesus said seek ye first the kingdom of God. And the kingdom and the church are not the same. I've talked about this so many times. And where do I learn it from? Well, you learn it from Apostle Taylor because he's the only one that really accurately understands that from face-to-face visitation. Jesus has appeared to him well over 1,000 times and has shown him in the Bible. When he comes to him and tells him things, he shows him in the Bible, this is what I said 2,000 years ago, and this is what I meant. And he shows him things that are at the mystery level that you can read the Bible your whole life and miss it, because the mystery level most of the time, it requires a face-to-face visitation. Revelation is this high stuff. You can get that from the Holy Spirit, but mystery is deep stuff that you've got to have a very close, direct communication from God to understand mystery level stuff. So that's what sonship is. There's the mystery of sonship. When I talk about sonship, Sons of God Rising, Marvel Dream Revelations, those books and episodes I've been writing, that's mystery level stuff. You're not going to get that in a church because churches don't have that. They don't have that stuff. They are very shallow most of the time, very, very shallow and wrong on a lot of stuff they teach. So that's what I talk about that extensively in the Supernatural Entrepreneur series. There is a lot of crossover between Supernatural Entrepreneur series and all my Marvel stuff. They merge together at some point, but I try to keep them separate. It's hard to do. I try to keep them separate because I like to focus on one thing at a time and the other thing at a time. But it's hard to do. But they do merge together. I've talked about that in the past. So the character development process is mostly what I focus on okay, I call it the secret life of a supernatural entrepreneur. I don't say the public life, I say the secret life, because he's got to know everything that God does with a person who has a calling like mine behind the scenes before they get to the place where God is positioning them, developing them. How many years was King David running around in the wilderness with his band of men before God decided, okay, now it's your time to sit in the throne that was being occupied by an evil King Saul? Well, it was many years. And there's a 20-year process we have to go through. And I've talked about that in the past, a 20-year process. If you go through 20 years as a Christian, you don't go through the right process, you're not going to come out with anything, which is why the church is so dead and powerless, because there is no one out there that is accurate. Other than Apostle Taylor, what he teaches us, there's no one else out there that understands this. And so you're not going through the right process. You're not coming out with sonship to make decrees and see worlds change. A king and a divine emperor is able to do that. A full son of God is able to do that. And I mean a son of God in the terms of the biblical explanation of it in the sonship teachings. Okay, I'm not talking about the Son of God, Jesus. I'm talking about sons of God, which it says in the New Testament, the earth is groaning for the sons of God to manifest. The earth will not obey someone who has not reached the level of sonship. When you do reach that level, you can control time. Oh, yes, you can. Just like Joshua did. You can do the same thing now. And it's already been done. It's happened already. Other things, you can make things move by thinking, nope, that's not just the Force in Star Wars. That came because God gave man the imagination made in his likeness and image. We can do things that he does on a lower level. So when we imagine things in our head, that's why I keep saying that my invention, my space energy invention will produce, I've seen it in dreams, will produce light speed travel technology. Yes, you can. Why do we have it in movies? Because we have an imagination that is divinely inspired by God. Whether you believe in him or not, he still gives imaginations that are inspired by him. So when I say that my invention will produce light speed technology, somehow it's going to get from the design I have, it's going to get to that. I've seen it in dreams, lots of them. It's going to happen. So how can we make movies with things like that, and yet we should be able to do them in real life when we go through the process and God gives us the ideas? Okay, what does it say? Proverbs 8. What does it say about knowledge of witty inventions? Okay, God gives knowledge of witty inventions in dreams at night. And how many people have had dreams about all kinds of amazing inventions that exist now? The sewing machine, there's been medical breakthroughs, all this kind of stuff that has come through dreams at night. And so I'm another example of many people. The only difference with me is I'm coming out telling you the fact that I know the dreams came from God. I'm not some guy that thinks the universe is speaking to me at night. Duh. No, it's the God who created the universe speaking to me at night. Aim higher, okay? Stop aiming so low that you just stop at the universe. That's the universe. What, a star is going to speak to you? No, you're crazy. No, God who created them is speaking to you. Okay, so... All right, where are we now? Where were we? Okay, so the supernatural entrepreneur, the secret life of the supernatural entrepreneur is the title God gave me, and that is the secret life, the behind the scenes, the stuff that you have to go through so that when God is ready to put you out there and open, you're ready to handle all the stuff that comes along with it. Now, I had some people tell me straight to my face, these dishonoring clowns, idiots, religious people, Pharisees, think that all the stuff I talk about is just a bunch of nonsense. And they have said such dishonoring. Okay, Jesus talked about don't throw pearls to swine. The church is full of swine, spiritual pigs. They have no honor for anything. And they treat this like such a bunch of cheap trash. I had to tell someone that the other day. Some of these people treat this process God has put me through and what he's required me to do, and they'll tell me, well, I don't think God would tell you not to work a job. Well, it's because you're a freaking idiot. That's why. Actually learn something about God, okay? Actually connect with him. Stop telling me your stupid lies and your arrogant, self-righteous church crap. No, He tells people like me to do this because he gave me an assignment. Part of it is right here what I'm doing now. It is in my blog. It is telling you my testimony. How many years did Joseph go through? Joseph in the Bible, Genesis 37:41, and all that stuff, when he interpreted Pharaoh's dream, you know how many years he spent in prison? Oh, was that working a job? Does that meet your expectations? Working a job to provide for himself so he didn't have to rely on other people? Let's see. Who paid the bill for the prison? Oh, the taxpayers paid the bill for the prison back then. Wow. Oh, I guess you forgot that part, didn't you? Maybe you should think farther ahead next time. Okay. Well, God requires people like me to be provided for by other people. When he does that, he's giving you an opportunity to be part of the whole story. He's giving you an opportunity to give you, he's telling you to do this so you can get a much bigger reward than the personal sacrifices you had to make for supporting someone like me. But if you're going to have a nasty, arrogant, self-righteous attitude, I'll tell you what you're going to get. You're going to get paid back for everything you spent, and nothing else will happen. You will lose. And some of those rewards could have come from me, but because I had to put up your judgmental Pharisee attitude, I am cutting you out of my life. You ain't going to have nothing to do with me because I'm going to have judgmental idiots like you, constantly your snake hissing, false accusations. I will not have you in my life. So the rewards that God would have, I would have been happy to have certain people to give them things that I know is coming along with my business. I would have been happy to do that. But now, like, forget it. I put up with too much of your crap, and I'm not going to do it any longer. So you are getting cut out when we leave. When we get our stuff, when we leave, I'm cutting you out. And all you're going to do is get paid back, and that's it. You're not going to get anything more. And oh, by the way, God has shown me dreams about some of these people with their attitudes, and he is absolutely removing them from our life. And I'm talking about more than one person here. I'm talking about more than one. So I'm just telling you, you need to understand what's going on behind this. So when I say I have a calling um, as a prophet that hasn't totally come out in the open yet, sometimes a prophet has to tell you straight up stuff that you don't want to hear. In the Bible, prophets did a lot of correcting, a lot of correcting. Why? Because God is the Father. God the Father is a disciplinarian. What is a father supposed to be in real life? A disciplinarian. He has to make sure you grow right so you don't become a stupid, screwed up person who is useless to society. That's what a father is supposed to do. Train you properly. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. It says to beat them. In the old King James, beat them means to whip them, to mean to spank them, to keep their soul from hell. You're supposed to discipline your child so that they do not end up in hell for eternity, and they can do something and be a great person with good morals and actually do the thing that God put them here on this earth to do in this lifetime. It's about now in this lifetime things that have got to be done, that God planned from the beginning of time. He had a plan for you from millions of years ago, and you were supposed to find out what that is and do it, not your self-righteous concoction you came up with yourself. No, what he wanted to. And when you do that, you get rewards like crazy. And so, when you come into your promised land, which I will be soon, a lot of people are going to hate you. And I already know, I wanted this to be such a positive thing. I wanted to tell people this amazing story that I didn't know my whole life, that God speaks in dreams, because these idiot churches I used to go to, the mainstream ones that taught nothing useful, I didn't know that God speaks in dreams. I didn't know what his plan was for me. I did what I thought was from him, and it was okay, but it was only a stepping stone. And then I tried to ask for more, and I didn't realize what he was going to give me was so far beyond anything I could come up with on my own. And so that's why I was always wanting to go out and tell people about this. Why would they not want to hear my story and say, wow, I didn't know I could do all that too. I didn't know that God might have such a huge plan for my life that I could be doing way beyond what I have thought of in my own. And you could have resources and financial means to do things are so big and so beyond. But if you're not going to follow this, or you're going to believe this dead church trash, this poverty mentality from Satan, which is a Catholic saying, false lies. Satan doesn't like money. That's why he's using the FBI to go after ministries like JMMI and their supporters like me. He's using them to go after, because Satan knows that without money, you can't do anything. So how are you going to change the world without money? You can't. Clown, figure it out. You can't. So Satan doesn't want people like me to have money. That's why we had this satanic opposition from getting the money for the invention to begin with. How many times have I talked about the supernatural detective series that I wrote? It is still ongoing, that deals with what's really going on with the money for the invention we should have had 3 years ago. Satan involved. He does not like people like me. I wrote a blog years ago. Why do Christians have no serious wealth or influence? I like Chick-fil-A, except that they've had some bad news lately. You have to check that out. Some of it anyway, and also Hobby Lobby. I love those. That's not going to change the world. That's not the kind of money we're talking about. That's not the kind of business we're talking about. But it's a great start. It's a great start. But there's so few of them, so few of them, and so I like them very much. But um, that's where are the Christians in big tech making sure that all this extremely intrusive AI and all this privacy invasions and all this collecting of data and spying on people, where are the Christians in those businesses? There are none. They're not leading them. They're not the founders. They're not the inventors. They're not the CEOs. Where are the Christians? Hello. Why do you think God gave me this conviction years ago, and then he put me through this process so that I would be one of the people that would stand up and answer this massive gap that is being filled by people run by Satan? Hello. So you church people out there, you Christians, you call yourself a Christian and you never bother to ask God for anything big. And when he tries to bring you something big, you reject it and say, that's not God. That's not of God. That's not, you know, this is why there are not people out there like this. This is why. That's why there's nobody out there doing stuff that can actually change the world. Leaders learn how to ask the right questions. How many times have I said this in my episodes, the Supernatural Entrepreneur series? You have to learn to ask the right questions. I started learning to ask the right questions back in 2009. I talked about that. And that led me ultimately to where I am now. It took a few years for God to slowly, one piece at a time, he gave me answers. And every time he gave me an answer, I had a choice to either accept it or to reject it. If you reject God's answer, you have rejected him. If you reject someone like me with a prophetic calling, and I'm here to tell you the stuff that I have walked through myself, I have learned, I have spent years learning this, and you reject the message God has given me, you have rejected God. I'm an imperfect person like everyone else. You know, I just went through the process. I just chose, and it was very hard. It was really hard to go through this process, and I chose willingly to go through this. Although I had a hard time with some of it. I wouldn't willingly is okay. I chose to sign up for the process. I didn't know where it was going to take me. Some of that stuff I had a hard time with, but here I am. I'm still here. Somehow I managed to survive this horrible process. But hey, if when God shows you the kind of stuff he showed me, you are not going to jump off. You are not going to jump ship and quit. You're not going to do that. Although the temptation has been there a few times. I'll tell you, it has definitely been there to come off and do something easier. But in the end, I would have got nothing out of it. I wouldn't have changed the world. The world would get worse and worse and worse and worse because people didn't want to stand up and say, I'm going to do something about this. So if you just care about yourself, all you care about is yourself, all you care about is having a nice life, there's going to be some financial challenges coming to this country, most likely, that are going to take away everything. And you're going to wish you had listened to me and done what I said. You don't even know what's going on in the financial reality of this country and other countries also. You don't even know what it is. If you knew what it was, you'd be scared to death. And you'd be asking God, what should I be doing to survive what might very well be coming? And has been storing up for a long time. And I'll tell you what, there could be the only way. Okay, why? God is perfectly happy to bring a financial collapse to this country. Why? Because this freaking place, including the Christians, church people, is run by the demon called Mammon. You don't trust in God. Your money is lying to you. We trust in God. No, you don't. You don't trust in God. You trust in your money. You haven't learned to go through the process of living totally by faith like I have. You haven't gone through that. So you don't trust in God. And I'm talking to you church people out there, which I used to be myself. That's how I was. That's how I was raised. When God pushed me out of my career in the Air Force in 2015, and I was scared to death, and I realized 40 plus ability to trust and believe that God was going to provide for me. I was scared to death. I woke up in a panic every single day when I left the Air Force. And I had a reserve retirement plan, still have one. It doesn't pay me anything for several more years. Active duty and reserve retirements are two different things. I have reserve. So I don't get paid anything until close to age 60. I'm nowhere near that yet. So I've been living on nothing for the last 10 years. Recognized were from him. I had no faith at all. I was scared to death. Where's my money coming from? How am I going to live? How am I this? I woke up in a panic every single day. I went through the Bible and looked at all the. I went and researched all the verses where God talks about provision, prosperity, all those things. I made a list of them. They're on my website. I don't have that one advertised openly. I don't know why. I probably should, but it's there. It's posted. It's all the Bible verses about supernatural provision. Life the right way, He'll provide for you. And people like me have to go through a wilderness first before we get to our promised land, because we have a massive, huge global calling. So, but it's on my website, and maybe I'll just try to find a way to post that more openly, because I don't think you can find it right now. But it's there. All the verses on prosperity, I went back and I found all of them, and I would write them on note cards. I would read them over and over and over every single day to change the worldly thinking in my head and transform it so that I could actually start to believe that God would provide for me when He pushed me out of the Air Force and gave me no source of income of any predictable kind at all, and then gave me this blog writing job. Back then, I didn't even know what I was doing. It was I knew nothing back then. So it was very, very rough. And so now you see that's why after all these years, since 2015, now I have a story and I'm able to write about it. And here I am coming on videos all the time, which I could never do that. I wanted to come out and do this stuff so much. And even being live like this, I wanted this so much, I could not do it. I could not get it to work. I had one hindrance after the next, the devil attacking my mind, trying to just stop me, all these thoughts, getting me caught up in mental cycles where I try to overthink things, and I couldn't just come out and speak freely, or all this rigid thinking of this Western mind programming and message to deliver and all that, not just speak freely from the heart, speak freely by the inspiring of the Holy Spirit. I couldn't do that. And it took a long time. Sometimes I would do it, but then it would get cut short. Something would come up and my mind couldn't unravel the tangled up mess that would result. And so I would start these things and I would have to stop again. And I've been going through this battle for a long time. And now I've reached a point where I dream of the big 4-engine Air Force jet. It was painted like the standard gray, like those big, it looked like a new version of the KC-135 Stratotanker, which is built off a Boeing 707 platform with the newer size, the big turbofan engines. And it looked like that, except it had purple stripes on it, like purple, like business jet, like kind of like an artistic style on it. And inside the airport, and inside was full of electronic equipment. And I explained previously how that an Air Force jet like that, in real life, it was full of electronic equipment. It would be used for these things: collecting information and broadcasting information. And a big jet like that means it's a big reach. You have a big span of reach. And it connected with my 4 towers dream I had several years ago, where I saw 2 radio towers and then 2 behind it, much bigger, and I could see them through heavy cloud cover, and it was near my childhood house. I mean, I knew that meant God was talking to me personally about an assignment for me. And I found out later that that had to do with taking over the airwaves and destroying these evil lies from the devil, because in the Air Force, we win battles by taking over the airspace. In the spiritual sense, you win battles by taking over the spiritual airspace, literally with broadcasting, literally with taking down demonic principalities. And I've had dreams about that I can do that. And in fact, it's already started, which surprised the heck out of me. I didn't think I was at that point where I could do that. But I had dreams showing me that I could take down demonic principalities. And this, you have to do action. You have to take action and speak out. And as a king, you speak things. And me, this whole time, I'm speaking as a king. I'm speaking authoritatively. I'm speaking according to the testimony that God has given me. What does it say in Revelation? We overcome the devil by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And no one can refute your testimony. No one can refute my testimony. And I've been proving that this is what God has been telling me for the last 10 years, actually 11 years now. As of this month, February 2026, is 11 years of my blog. And you cannot refute the word of my testimony because I had it all written out. I have the whole thing, and it's a consistent story all the way from the beginning to the end. So this is part of taking down demonic principalities and destroying them. And I'll tell you what, I feel very strong about what I'm saying right now. Um, I know for a fact this is of God what I am saying. And I had, like I say, I have a list of dreams on this topic, all and the other ones too I haven't talked about yet, or maybe I have in previous videos. The same thing, taking them down and destroying them. And you have to do work to do that. And sometimes that means you got to come on like this and talk like this. And the more you do this, the more you shut them down and destroy them and start fracturing all their lies and their structures of lies that they have built up. And you start destroying this. And the more you come out and speak, you destroy that. So this is like me being a preacher, which that wasn't my plan in life at all. But I had a dream about that last year, something about that. So anyway, it's in one of my vlogs actually in the Supernatural Entrepreneur series. It's in there. Something about a signature. I had a hard time writing a signature. I had to look at what does it mean? What does a signature mean? And to signify, if you look in the concordance, to signify means to preach. Wow. So sometimes God will tell you things in dreams, and you have to do research and use the concordance to find out the original meaning of those words and find out what he was trying to tell you. Okay. So let me just check really quick. Let me take a little breather break here and check back at my little video studio thing and see that yeah, this is actually the third video for today. But that's because I had to hop around a little bit and I had a little problem with the startup here. I had a 5-minute, 51-second video, had a little problem with the setup, and then I got a call, came in, and I had to answer that call, and I did a quick video after that, which was 7 minutes, 36 seconds about the whole FBI thing and all that stuff. And so anyway, when you're starting off like me and you don't have much of an audience, I tell you, 3 people is like exciting. I'm telling you the truth. But I do have other people watching my previous videos. It's like the longer they're out there, people try to catch on. And by the way, the fact that I'm doing a lot more of these now, I'm going to be getting a lot more people because I'm being consistent about them, first of all. And you kind of have to do that. You got to be consistent. And now that I'm not, I kind of broke past that barrier. I kept running into a barrier all the time. Now that I broke past that, I'm going to be doing this a lot more often. So you might see on my channel now where I will say that I'll post something there like a scheduled broadcast, a scheduled live broadcast with me. And it might be like 2 days from now or tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. or something. And what that means is I have a scheduled broadcast coming up, but don't expect it to be at that exact time. It's a placeholder. The system I'm using, you can create a broadcast, actually come on at that time. I may have other things going on. I may move the time. That time may come and go by an hour and a half, and all of a sudden here I am. So don't look too closely at the scheduled times for my broadcast. That's not necessarily going to get to, it might be off a little bit, but I am putting these out there. I'm scheduling them now, and I am being consistent and getting out there. And I'm not going to come on and try to come up with the whole list of, let's see, exactly what should I be talking about today, and try to follow some exact script and all that kind of thing. And so, it's not quite going to be quite that rigid. I'm trying to be, more free, and also not to feel like I have to come on here and be this perfectly polished, like a fake news reporter. I'm not trying to be like them either. I rather just come on here and be conversational. And if I were to have people on here live and watching me, then they could potentially give live feedback. But actually, right now, I don't have this thing set up to see anything coming in. So I'm not quite there yet. I'm not ready to do live chats right now or answer questions live. That's why I say email me stuff, and maybe I can get back with you that way. So let me just change my title here. Okay, and I might change that again. So I have a standard title for these videos, and after they start, when I know what my main topic is, then I go back and I change the title. So you might see that I'm live, and it just gives the standard Live with Chris, supernaturalscience.com, and you may have to go back and you may see that I changed my title after the fact. It's just how it goes. It's just normal YouTube kind of thing. But for me, I'm still new to this, so I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. And I'm not trying to come on here and watch the time and watch the clock and say, "Oh, I've been here for so long, so let's just cut this off." Do you know that there are people, and I don't watch them. I know who they are, but I don't watch them. Um, there are people that have really popular podcasts, and they come on and talk for like 3 or 4 hours at a time, and they do this all the time, and they have these conversations with people they interview. You probably heard of some of these, and they don't think there's anything wrong with coming on for 3 or 4 hours at a time. So why should I have a problem coming on and just talking? I'd love to have someone else to talk with. That would be great. Oh, we'd be here a long time if we did. But I haven't quite got to the point where I can bring someone else in and have a good conversation um, about that in that way. So anyway, and that would require a little bit more setup on my end, which I think I can handle. I think I can, but learning this little OBS thing here, one thing, one step at a time. And as you know, some of it is being a little clumsy. So what else? Let's see. We pretty much handled the XRP thing. It's kind of going nowhere. We talked about the supernatural entrepreneur, the process God has put me in. Yeah, a few things related to that, and I'm just kind of scanning over my website stuff here. I have noticed my website views kind of jump a lot more when I'm doing stuff. And today, I don't know how, they've jumped a lot today. I don't know what's going on. Why all of a sudden? Well, okay, I went for about a 2 month period approximately where it costs about $110 to renew this website and the domain address. They're two separate things, but overall, the cheap end is $110. I really want the $300 level, the business end level. I really want that, but I don't have the money to pay for that. And so I went for a 2 month period where I couldn't pay the $100 service plan, and so I was back to the old cheap free WordPress version, which I think caused some obvious problems. The domain address was screwed up. It was like trying to find me was impossible. And when I got that paid recently, back up to speed again. So my supernatural-science.com website was back up to speed. Um, that's when things kind of like started. It looks like things started coming back with followers and that kind of thing. People following me, reading my stuff. But hey, that's what happens when you're in the process I'm in, and you don't have money, and no one's paying for it. Then you're kind of out of luck with some things. And tell you what, that has aggravated me in the past when I would do that. But like I say, trying to come out here a lot more often, be more personal, and get over this whole idea of not wanting to be out in public and overthinking everything and being timid and insecure sometimes about this stuff. I had a dream about that. I put in my 50 plus common dreams book, by the way, where I talked about one of the dreams God showed me where I was being insecure. I was hiding behind a glass door in a house. Like the house had a glass door, and I was hiding behind that. I didn't want people outside to see that I was in there, but you could look in and see the whole house through the glass front door. The front door of the house was all glass, and I was hiding behind that. I was hiding behind like a pillar or a wall, a corner in the house where people couldn't see me, but it kind of left me, you know, like I wouldn't be able to walk around. I'd be like a prison in my own house. People would just be able to walk in and see me. So I'm trying to look for something right here. My store page is what I'm trying to find, and not Safari browser. Okay, but why is it not showing me what I want to show? It was going to hopefully show something else here. Maybe I got to go through the settings and change the. No, it's still not working. I wanted to show the web page where I have my store. For some reason, I try to bring it up. It's not showing that. It's showing something else. And I could probably bore you to death with me trying to figure this thing out live. It does say Safari. It doesn't show a specific web page. Restart capture. Oh, no, that's on the wrong page too. Wow. You know what? That is so annoying. Restart capture. That's the wrong page. All right. So, okay, dreams. Oh, I was on the right page. Let's try this again. I was there. I was right there. I just had my thing set wrong. Uh, there we go. Okay. Chris has a store page. Okay. I have a store page on my website. Here's the, let's just scroll through it here. Ebooks by Chris. By the way, I also have paperback books. I have audiobooks also now through 11 Reader, and make sure everything is tracking the way I want it to. It is. I have video trailers that show my. This is an old one. This one here, ebooks by Chris Michaels. That's an older video trailer. I've updated some of these books, and the covers look different. So, and it has my old logo here. I'm going to update all this. The Marvel Dream Revelations book. I don't necessarily have a video series like I used to. I do have videos about that, but it's not so much of a formal series. I kind of dumped all the original videos. Okay, I have two websites where you can get my stuff on Gumroad, which is very useful for digital content creators like myself, but it's not widely known. That's why I tell you, just go there. You'll see what I'm talking about. And then Amazon, I have my ebooks, a Kindle, and paperback. Okay, so the first two, these up here, the dreams on the left and the supernatural science of reaching your God-given purpose, that all, when I do it, you can see that I have a audiobook will be coming when version 2.0 is ready. It's not now, not ready yet. Okay, quick. Okay, now here's my 50 Plus Common Dreams book. And you can see these are and Marvel Dream Revelations. These are the new covers. And you can see they're PDF, EPUB on Gumroad, Amazon, paperback, and Kindle, and audiobooks. Both are audiobooks. Now, I might end up deleting the EPUB version on all these books. I've been thinking about that for a while now. I might delete the EPUB and do PDF only for Gumroad because it's too easy to steal those and publish them somewhere else, because EPUB is a very good format for using in other places. So I might be deleting that and do PDF only, and then there'd be Kindle and all that stuff. Here, The Secret Life of Supernatural Entrepreneur. The first 55 episodes of this series I've been talking about are there. And what am I on now? I'm on episode 92. So volume 2 will come out and be right next to this on the right side for volume 2, and it'll have a different cover. And it'll just show you it's volume 2 of my series. So this one, volume 1, A Journey Begins. Okay, so I also have video series, but I took that one out because all that. I do have an official logo apparel store. I'm calling it CRM Space Jets. It's on Sticker Mule. Digital art. This is all, I created this myself by hand on a digital sketching app. I did not use AI for any of this at all. No AI. This is all hand-drawn digital art, all of it. And you can buy that. It's on my Gumroad page. You can link off my store page here. I have a ton of recommended books, but the cheaper plan with WordPress doesn't show all this. So I don't know why it's showing now. Maybe they're working again. It cut off all the Amazon previews. It was so aggravating. I had all these Amazon previews here, and then it cut them off. It looks like it's back now for the first time in over a year. Okay, you can see all these books. Okay, Kingdom of God, and the vast majority of them, Face-to-Face Appearances by Jesus. You've got to get that book. My Trip to Heaven, Rick Joyner, Final Quest trilogy, all this book, Sonship, Empire of God, Kingdom of God by Apostle Taylor. The rest of the Kingdom of God, Protons, you've got to get this book. Covenant of Marvels. Sonship should be in here too. Okay, I talked about the 20-year process, God's divine timing, and premature exposure. Fourth Watch. Wings in the Morning, you've got to get that. That's what 3 to 6 a.m. is about. And if you don't do 3 to 6 a.m., you're not going to get anywhere in your life. No way. Okay. And I know that for a fact. The God Realm, that's another interesting story. Triumph in Humility, Victory Over Pride. If you don't get this book, you will never know what pride actually is, and you will be operating in it all the time, and God will not promote you. Inheritance by Lineage. If you don't know what inheritance by lineage is, then you're never going to find out what your spiritual lineage is, and you're not going to fulfill your calling and your purpose in life, because you've got to know your lineage. I've talked about my lineage many times. Okay, time travel. You cannot find a movie it's like, okay, there are so many movies. Hallmark movies are dealing with time travel now. And I like them. They're really great, especially A Biltmore Christmas. I really like that movie. I could watch that Many, many times. I love that movie, Hallmark, A Biltmore Christmas. There are so many time travel dreams. Why? What did I say in the beginning? Because God gave us an imagination. We are created in His image and likeness. And when we imagine things, a lot of times it came from Him. Time travel is real. Yes, you can do it. I'm not saying it requires an energy device like that requires 1.21 gigawatts. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say you have to have this big thing that spins around and does all this crazy stuff with flashes of light and all. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you can do time travel supernaturally. Okay. Um, these are just a few of the things. Yeah, you should really take a look at these books. To be honest, I've heard the testimony of Mary Kay Baxter so many times that I have not read the book. It's bad. I really should have, but I haven't yet. But I have read Bill Weiss, 23 Minutes in Hell. I did read that book. That is scary. You want to know what hell really is? Right there. These people both went down there and experienced it. Their stories are different in terms of what God was trying to show them while they were down there. But it does absolutely, they show very real how hell really, the reality of hell. It is very real. Okay, a bunch of other stuff down here. Of course, there's my newest logo since last year, Supernatural Science. That is an AI image, by the way. So, okay. I don't know why I can't find something on my to minimize these. But anyway, let me shut that off and switch back over here. So my store page has a ton of stuff, and there's more on the way and all that kind of stuff. My Sticker Mule site, I would love it if you'd go there, buy my t-shirts. Speaking of this, you can't get on Sticker Mule because they don't have mugs, but that's my Blue Cube Rocket logo. This is the old style cup. I have a new one, totally new. It looks a lot better, much more upgraded than this one. It looks really nice. It has the Dreamcoin symbol on the back of it. I don't know why I don't have that. I do have that. Not like I'm saying that I have a page on my website that shows the story. When I say Dreamcoin, I had a dream if you don't know what that is, that's okay. It's not important. You'll figure it out eventually. He wanted me to make a design. Oh, wow. These pictures are not there. God wanted me to design a military challenge coin for my invention. And so I came up with one. It took me a while, but I came up with one and I improved it and it's a whole lot better now. Here's why. Okay, I'm going to fix a little image here that's missing from my page and I'll show you the page. He wanted me to create a challenge coin because well, for reasons that when my company gets going, it's something I can give people, I can sell them, and it tells the story. It's a prophetic illustration that I did myself by hand on my sketching app. Okay, now there we go. Now it's showing. Okay, now let's go back and do a preview on this so you can see the actual page. There we go. And turn this back on. I got to do a refresh on this every single time. Why does it require me to do oh, there it is. Never mind. Perfect. There we go. Okay, see this image right here with the 5 engine shape of a cross, the Pleiades star cluster right here in the top, the mountains, which by the way, I drew this before I knew I was going to be going to Colorado to build the invention. I drew this when I was still living in New York. I had no idea that I was going to Colorado. And I drew this design before that. And it's actually, okay, the sun, we don't need to get into specifics as a sunrise or a sunset because you can make the case either way. The beginning of a new day is at sundown, not sun up. Sundown, sunset is the beginning of a new day, not sunrise. That's the biblical explanation. So anyway, I talk about the whole thing here. And for some reason, my Sticker Mule t-shirt designs are not showing up on this thing. CRM Space Jets is the website for it. But you can go on this page here, look for the page that says Dreamcoin on the top. And that is listed on my website, by the way. And so you can find that. And you can actually buy a t-shirt with that design on it. And the new mug design has that on one side and the Blue Cube Rocket logo on the other. So it's a prophetic illustration that tells the story of the invention, that my invention came from God in dreams. that's how it initiated. And then my wife got where she got the design for it. And like I say, it's ready to build right now, anytime. We just need the money, by the way. I keep talking about that, but that's how it is. So anyway, Dreamcoin, that's it right there. And that is basically prophetic art. It tells a story in symbols, and that big jet in the middle was the first dream I ever had about my invention. And that's why it's in the moon, because we have the full design for the invention and it's ready to build. And the cross on the left, that literally is pointing to the cross. The wise men followed a star to find Jesus, and that represents wisdom. It represents the cross, Jesus. The Pleiades, I've had that several times, twice actually show up in dreams. It's kind of like a mystery of the meaning of something about the invention. I still don't have the full meaning of that, by the way. I'm still waiting for God to provide the rest of the understanding of why he chose a Pleiades to represent the invention. But anyway, so in my Supernatural Science of Reaching or God-Given Purpose uh, book, it has the story of the 5-engine jumbo jet that you see in the middle. In real life, there's no such thing as that kind of a design. It wouldn't. It'd be kind of that wouldn't really work. Anyway, you can go on that and you can find out the story of that jet and the dream and what it represented. I have the whole story, which I'm writing version 2 of the Supernatural Science of Reaching a God-Given Purpose. It's kind of on the slow plan, but I am doing that. And so hopefully at some point in the near future, I can't put a date on it, but it's actually a lot longer. I've already been working on it, but I can only work on it in stages. And so it is a lot longer. And it's going to have a lot more in it than the first version. The first version I wrote was like 30 pages and it was free. And then I made it almost twice as many pages and I started selling it like a regular ebook. And now it's much more than that. It's a lot more pages. I forgot how many we're up to now, and it's nowhere near done. And it's not the same as the Supernatural Entrepreneur series. The Supernatural Entrepreneur is like the daily expansion of many of the topics that deal with how to find your calling, how to walk it out, the process God puts you through, why, just so many of the things I've learned. That's what that's all about. And so, but the Supernatural Science of Reaching a God-Given Purpose, that is in more like it's a different way of handling the whole thing. They both go together. Marvel Dream Revelations, that ties in with it too, but it's on a whole different, it's on all the Marvel supernatural abilities, the glory realm manifestations that I talked about in a recent video from just a few days ago. They all work together, but they're in different types of how do you say? It's in a different context. That's not really what I was saying. Anyway, they all deal with a different angle of my story and what He wants to do with all of us, those who will obey and follow the process. So, anyway, okay, um, all my stuff here, and I'm probably going to finish up in a little while. Um, what else? I don't think I have too much else that I can discuss right now that I didn't already cover. I kind of hit the main points. I can talk so much about the Supernatural Entrepreneur series. There's so much in there, and Marvel's, just everything, the invention. There's so many things I can talk about um, that it's just one thing at a time. I could be on here all day, and you know, people do long podcasts, and I would love to have someone else who is at my level in the same process, connected with me through JMMI, and we could talk here for a long time about this whole situation, just everything in general, just everything. Um, so many things we could talk about. People with a different calling than mine that are also in this process. They have a more of a ministry calling than I do, and so there's a lot of things we could talk about. So I think I'm good for right now. I'm trying not to be so programmed and formulaic about how I do this. As you can see, I kind of got stuck doing 3. This is my 3rd live video today. The first 2 were short, different topics, and I kind of had to hop around with the setting. The setup here was kind of clumsy. I still don't know what I'm doing with this. I only know the basics of using OBS to broadcast. So don't be surprised if things are a little bit screwy while I'm doing this. Anyway, so, but I'm feeling much more comfortable with this. Like this is like a normal thing now. And I really do expect to do this a lot more often. So if you, like I said, if you see on my YouTube channel that there's a scheduled live broadcast, that means there's one coming up. Probably will be on the day that you see it, but it may not be the exact time. It might be 2 hours earlier than the scheduled time. It might be an hour later, whatever. There may be times when I skip a day for whatever reason. But I am going to be on here a lot. And someone wanted me to do this a couple of years ago in Colorado. Someone was telling me they really wanted me to do this, but I just couldn't. I tried so hard. I just couldn't make it happen. You know, when God is giving you the anointing and the inspiration to do something, because it just goes and it doesn't stop. And I'm in that right now. So I just like to do things and continue. I don't like stops and starts. I just like to just keep going and keep going and keep going and be consistent. I just like that. Like there's a tip. If you have a dream about a train, it can mean something that keeps going and is consistent and hard to stop. Represents momentum also. Because how hard is it to stop a train? It's really hard to stop a train. Ship too. They don't stop fast either. They don't turn fast. Um, so anyway, there's a dream tip. We could talk about dreams a lot. I got thousands and thousands of my own dreams that I've written down, that I've recorded, and we could talk about them quite a bit. So anyway, I really got to try hard to get other people on here. That's been on my list for such a long time. Um, and the more I do this, the more momentum it'll gather and it'll start reaching a bigger audience, which now that I got my website back up and running the way it should have been, it's already started to do that. And I've been doing more blogs and this kind of thing. Actually, I'm showing you stuff from JMMI that's going on there and helping you to show the real story of what's going on, not the fake news trash, all that. And so, anyway, I still do interpret dreams, not as much as I was before. If you want to find out the meaning of your dream, go on my front page of my website, use the search bar, and just type in some of the main symbols you've seen in your dream. And you're going to find the search bar now actually works pretty well. You want to type like the meaning of a car in the dream. It'll show you all the blogs I've written with cars in them, or airplanes, or military, or snakes, dogs, animals, that kind of thing, a moon. Type that in there and it'll show you the list of all the blogs that have those keywords and stuff that I've written about. That's a really good way. Start with that. If you can get an idea of what your dream means from the many different blogs I've written about them, that's a good start, because I can't always answer right away. And sometimes it takes a lot of effort for me to be able to focus and give a good answer. So it's better and see if you can find an answer first and then email me after that if you need to. Also, you can contact JMMI directly. They have a whole staff. Lots of people there can interpret dreams just like me. I was trained and approved by them back in 2000, the beginning of 2016, something like that. I was trained and approved by them as an interpreter, and I was interpreting them for a while as a part-time guy. But God had me switch to do this thing here full-time, sort of full-time, not really. But anyway, so you can contact them. The link to the JMMI Dream site is on my blogs, just on the front page. Just look for where it says largest online free dream symbols list, JMMI. That's where you can go and you can contact them. They have it now. It's on the bottom of their page. You know what, let me just see if I can, hang on, let me help you out here and bring that page up, because I always have it up on my computer with, why is this thing so slow to do a refresh? I changed, there we go. Why is it so slow? Anyway, okay. Here is the JMMI Dream Symbols page. So it starts off with that at the top. You can see joshuamediaministries.org/dream-interpretation/biblical, all that stuff. Just go on their site. Okay, so they break it down in categories. Okay, it worked on my phone today. It worked there, but Oh no, it is. It's working. Great. Okay, something was glitching there. Okay, see how they broke it down into categories? On the left side, miscellaneous. On the right side, interpreting the places you see in your dreams. Then on the left, people you see, numbers, animals, vehicles, colors. I talk very important. Metals, insects you see in dreams. Insects. I've seen a lot of insects in dreams. Usually they're bad. Usually, jewels, clothing, currency, money, all these things. You can go on their site. Okay, now look at the bottom here. They changed this right here. They have a new thing. There's a little, does this say start button down there? It says start. If you want them to interpret your dreams, go through that, hit that button. You'll have to plug in your name, and I'm just gonna, um, but anyway, you can see you start there and go through a little process. And okay, I wish if I would just do that. Uh, Let me just try dream. And then let me go from there. And great, what's your first name? Okay, you see how this is going to go. They're going to keep asking for your name page. And I have that linked on my website, of course. I do have it linked. And so you can go there and you can ask them, and they will interpret your dream. And let me go back to my page for a second here, back to my home page, supernaturalscience.com. Okay, now let me come back and see, is this thing stuck? How do I, oh, there we go. Okay, now we're back to my homepage. Okay, so you see at the top all the different categories of pages I have here. Not all of them are there, but a lot of them. And then here, supernatural science, what does it mean? A paradox of two realms, a personal story of faith and discovery. That's the primary theme behind my website. Okay, here we go. You need help interpreting dreams. On the left, dream interpretation options. That's me. Or there's an option for contacting JMMI, the page I just showed you. Okay, if you have a question, cars in dreams. Well, let's see. Well, look at that. Can you see that? No. Sorry. For some reason, it's stuck. Why is it stuck? Oh, back up. There we go. You know what? I just went through that whole thing and didn't flip the screen over. Let me start back from the beginning. Here we go. And there. Now on the left, dream interpretation options. On the right, that's me and JMMI. On the right is the JMMI page right there. The search option works really well. And now you can see that. Yep. So if you type in cars, okay, here's a blog I wrote about flying cars. Yes, that's real. Another one. But here, if you want to know about being in a car in a dream, that's one blog. Okay, here was cars with a different spelling. Live video. Here's some blogs. Here, okay, here's a dream of being in the middle seat of a car. Right there. And this is the Supernatural Detective blog I wrote. A dream about being in a car. Here, common dreams that played out in real life includes dreams about cars in that book that I wrote. And for some reason, that thing, I got to fix that part, the cover image there. Okay. And that's just an example that shows you how you can use my search feature there on the homepage. And it will show you a bunch of things there that can be useful. You can plug in other things, snakes, dogs, all that. Here's all the latest stats. I have to do this manually. My website does not give me the ability to do this automatically. It doesn't grab numbers from the stats and pull it over. I have to do this manually. So usually I keep it up to date. Big donate button, don't forget that. Here's all the recent blogs I posted. This one will be in a blog on my website very soon when I finish with this, and it'll look just like that. Look like one of these with whatever title I choose to put in there. Well, I think the one I chose already for the video right now. You can see it. Okay, these are big blocks that have buttons. You can hit this one, the one that says store page, or the donate, or the blogs, and you can kind of see the arrow, not really. And that will take you to the page where I have all my blogs, or my donate options, or my store that I showed you. Clues to your purpose. That's right there. You can check that one out. I think it's going to take you straight to the page that goes to the Supernatural Entrepreneur series. Contact instructions, social media, all the places you can find me on social media. Face-to-face, that tells you something about JMI. You need to know that. Good stuff. Space energy invention, there's something. Biblical Marvel powers, supernatural Marvel powers right there. And then down here, all the blog categories. See that on the left side? All those words on the left side with the hyperlinks. Those are all the categories of dreams I've written. And it tells you how many blogs of each category I have. You can see the little thing scrolling in the middle that shows all the books I've written. On the right side, the quad panel there of all my top logos and website activities right now. There's my dream. And let's see, down here, yep, Space Jets is the apparel store, Sticker Mule. I'm going to keep adding things there as I produce them and sell them. Blue Cube Rocket, that is the webpage for the space energy technology invention. That Blue Cube Rocket is the name right there, and that's the link. So there you go. Okay, and this website has been going on since 2015 and tells you right there at the bottom. So, okay. There, I just wanted to show you that. I haven't been able to do this kind of thing in a long time. I used to like getting on here and showing a little overview of my website and tell you what's on there for people that don't know and don't hop around a lot. If you're new, it might help to know. I used to do a separate video and just put it out there. And there, I just did it now. See how much easier it is when I don't put myself in a box and be so rigid in my thinking. Works out so much better. And plus, I'm learning to use OBS, which is a pretty steep learning curve. It's very steep. And I barely know about 3% of how to use that thing. So, anyway, we have been now online for 1 hour and 8 minutes for this particular video. And I'm looking forward to coming back again soon, as soon as I can, and just keep doing these. So, how about we cut it off there for today? Thank you for those who have been watching, and I don't know if anyone has been. So, let me just do a refresh on my YouTube studio. By the way, these are going up also on Rumble if I feel like getting around to uploading it there. A lot of them I have. And also, I've been putting some of these on my Spotify podcast, which also goes to Apple, Amazon, and Spotify podcasts. I've been putting them on there too. It's kind of a pain to upload them on there. So, but YouTube right now is primary, at least for now. So, anyway, I think that's all for now. And I'm going to head on to some other things, and I'll be coming back soon. So thanks very much for watching. Thanks for supporting. Like my donate page would be great, very helpful. Really need it right now. Uh, and thank you for sending me your dream you want to hear me talk about here. And if you got that, believe me, just come on and talk for a long time about whatever it is you're interested in. Supernatural mentoring and dream interpreting. I don't just interpret dreams, I do mentoring also. So, on any topic on my website or related to it. So, okay, that's all for now. I'm going to quit this thing